Good day, everyone. I am Renaline Artubal, and with me are my group mates, Rodi J. Asilom and Regine Baldoza. So, in this video, we will be discussing the nature of statistic. So, statistic is a fundamental subject that plays a crucial role in various fields. So, statistic is used in almost all fields of human endeavor. Statistics can be used in various occupations. Statistic is used to analyze the results of surveys and as a tool on specific scientific research to make decisions based on controlled experiments. Other uses of statistics include operation, research, quality control, estimation, and prediction. So, let us begin by understanding what statistic really is. So, let's start with a definition of statistic. Statistic is the science of conducting studies to collect, organize, summarize, analyze, and draw conclusion from data. So, statistic is not just about numbers, it is about using data to make sense of the world. So, like for example, businesses use statistics to determine which products sell best, and medical researchers use statistics to analyze the effectiveness of a new drug. So, now let's discuss the two main branches of statistics. So there are two main branches of statistics. So these are the descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. So now let's deal with the first branch. We have the descriptive statistic. It is consists of the collection, organization, summarization, and presentation of data. So in descriptive statistic deals with collecting, organizing, summarizing, and presenting the data. So example for this is calculating the average score of the students in a class. So that is descriptive statistics. Now let's have the next branch of statistic, which is the inferential statistic. So it consists of generalizing from samples to populations, performing estimations and hypothesis tests, determining relationships among variables, and making predictions. So in inferential statistics, it involves making predictions or generalizing from samples to populations. So like for example, conducting a survey on 100 students and using it to predict the performance of the entire school. So in the descriptive statistics, it gives a summary of data like the percentages or the averages, while the inferential statistics, it helps in making decisions of predictions based on a sample or based on a small sample.
Today, we're diving into an essential topic in statistics and research: the population, sample, and types of variables. Whether you're a student, a teacher, or just someone curious about data, this video will help you understand these concepts clearly. So, let's get started. First, let's talk about population and sample. In research and statistics, we often study a group of individuals, objects, or events. This entire group is called the population. However, studying the entire population can be difficult, especially if it consists of a large number of subjects. So, instead of studying everyone, we take a sample, which is a smaller group selected from the population. So this sample should represent the population accurately so that the result of our study can be generalized to the larger group. For example, if we want to study the average height of high school students in a city, our population would be all high school students in the city. But instead of measuring every single student, we take a sample. let's say students from 5 different schools, and use that data to make conclusion about the entire population. Now that we understand population and sample, let's talk about variables. A variable is any characteristic or attribute that can take different values among subjects. So variables in statistics can be classified into two main types, the qualitative and quantitative variable. Let's start with qualitative variables. These are variables that describe characteristics or attributes that cannot be measured numerically. Instead, they are categorized into different groups. Examples include gender, religious preferences, eye color, and geographic locations. So for example, we want to survey students and ask them for their favorite color. The responses might be blue, red, green, or yellow. So these are qualitative variables because they represent categories rather than numbers. Now, let's move on to quantitative variables. These are variables that can be counted or measured numerically. Examples include age, height, weight, temperature, or test scores. So for example, if we ask students for their ages, we might get responses like 15, 16, or 17 years old. Since these values are numerical or measurable, they fall under quantitative variables. Quantitative variables can be further divided into two categories, the discrete and continuous variables. Discrete variables are variables that can be counted and take whole number values. They do not have decimal or fractional values. Examples include the number of students in a class, the number of books on a shelf, or the number of cars in a parking lot. So the second is continuous variables. Continuous variables are variables that can be take an infinite number of values within a given range. So they are obtained through measurement and often include fractions and decimal. So examples include height, weight, temperature, and time. So for instance, we want to measure the weight of students and we might get values like 50.5 kilogram, 55.3 kilogram, or 60.8 kilogram, which makes a weight a continuous variable. On the other hand, if we count the number of students in a room, let's say 25 students, this is a discrete variable because we cannot have 2.5 students.
Now, let's discuss the different types of variables in statistics. So there are two types. You have the qualitative and quantitative variables. So when I say qualitative variables, it is categorical, and the variables with distinct categories. So we have the gender, the religion, and nationality. And when we say quantitative variables, it is numerical, and the variables that can be counted or measured. And now let's explore the different uses of statistics. So statistical techniques can be used to, number one, describe the data. So this involves organizing and summarizing the information. Number two, we are comparing the data sets. It helps in analyzing the differences between groups. Next, we have determining the relationships between the variables. So for instance, studying how exercise affects the weight loss. 4, we have test hypothesis, so this is important in research. 2, verify the assumptions. 5, make predictions. So for example, predicting election results based on the surveys. So again, in everyday life, statistics help us make better decisions. So weather forecasts, use statistical models to predict rain or sunshine. And in sports also, team analyzes player performance using statistics to improve their strategies. However, statistics can also be misused. While statistics is powerful, it can also be manipulated to mislead the people. So the misuse including the manipulating data, so selecting only favorable results. Next one, we have the cherry-picking information, so using only the data that supports a certain claim. Next is presenting misleading visuals, so the graphs or charts designed to exaggerate the differences. So that concludes our discussion on the nature of statistics. So let's summarize everything. So again, statistics is a powerful tool used in various fields, from research to business and even daily decision making. So understanding its uses, branches, basic terms, and types of variables allows us to interpret and apply data effectively. However, we must also be aware of its misuses to avoid misleading conclusions. Thank you for your time and attention.